and big Stevie Wright pulled up with the car, or Margaret drove down. I can't remember, but she saw me just outside the Arklow Bay Hotel, and she jumped out and she ran over and jumped in, and with her wee legs around me and her arms, and as if she hadn't seen me for years. But I loved that, and she would come down quite often, and the boys in Testament can actually tell you. Well, we'll not go there. That might be another story. But no, I'm moving on quickly, because this story revolves around Robert. So Ian Speedo Wilson, and every if I wanted to go down, I used to come up once every 2 weeks, because I had to sign on the brew. So I had to get like some money from somewhere, sort of thing. So I would come up once every 2 weeks, and then obviously go down again. But if you went down, you could only get the train to Dublin, and then from Dublin you had the thumb from Dublin to Blackrock, and then from Blackrock down to Arklow. Because there wasn't that much money in it, about getting, and the guys in No Sweat would give me money, but that would maybe be for my journey up, and then, for things that I needed when I was living down there, so to get back down again, I usually ended up. So anyway, Robert wanted to go down with us, with me and Speedo. So we decided that the three of us were going to go down. I had to return down on the Monday, and at a gig that night in like a cinema with No Sweat. So the boys were all expecting me down, but I knew how long it usually took to get. So we had to leave like really early. But Robert had to work. He was working in Morgan's at the time. So he said, "How am I going to get down?" And I said, "Look, you work for Morgan's, right? That's like a transport company. The lorry drivers keep these things called tachographs. They're basically wee circles of paper that you put into your dashboard as a lorry driver. And back then, lorry drivers, as is still the case, were only allowed to drive for 4 hours, and then you had to take a 2 hour rest. So this tachograph was an indication of how far a lorry driver had driven, and then for how long he had stayed off the road for, to keep everything legal. But because the tachograph became so prolific a symbol within lorry drivers, if you stood on the M1 and you needed to get somewhere, if you stood with a tachograph, a lorry driver would pick you up and bring you bring you somewhere. It was basically like somebody who works for the bus company, getting onto a bus, because the bus drivers have a kind of a and free travel, or going somewhere. But so he wasn't getting there to work until like 4:30 or whatever, and Speedo and I left on the first train at 9 o'clock in the morning or something. So we got down to Dublin, but we couldn't even make it as far as Dublin. We got as far as Drogheda, and then we had to get a lift. Had to thumb a lift from Drogheda down to Dublin, and then we went round to the road towards Blackrock. No, we got a dart. That's what it was. We had enough money, like a punt or whatever, to get a dart, which is like a sort of a tram to Blackrock. Off the tram, and then stand there and thumb, which somebody would take you around the coast road to Arklow, which was where No Sweat was based, in like a caravan park. We lived in the big house that was like the sort of the main part of the entrance to the caravan park. So Speedo and I were like bollocks, and the guys in No Sweat were worried too, because there was no mobile phones or anything back then, so I had to actually find phone boxes and ring them and say, "I'm in Blackrock now, but I don't know how long it's going to take," because there were other people thumbing, That's another thing. So I mean, you had to sort of like they take her, and like there were some lovely girls who came afterwards, you know, and you'd been standing there maybe for an hour, and they, you know, they got a lift right away. And you, if you went, you know, hey, you know, the guy would say, you know, mate, I'm not taking you, you know, and that was the way it was. And so Speedo and I managed to get our way, did every step of the way from Blackrock, then down to Arklow. And from Arklow, the guy left us off, and we went and walked on down the main street, over the bridge, round the Arklow Bay Hotel, into the caravan park. And there was our Robert sitting there. And I said, what the fuck? You know, how did you, what? You know, I mean, you only got out of work like at 4:30, you know? And he said, well, yeah, but I did what you said, and I went up to the M1, and I held up the tachograph sort of thing, and this guy pulled up in like this car, and said that he owned some haulage company out by I can't remember where it is anyway, but it's out where is it? Thingy. Not Glencormley. Yeah, it's somewhere out there anyway. So he says, I recognise it, but where are you going? And Robert said, I'm going down to Arklow. And he went, pff. He says, well, I'm going to Dublin. For some sort of a truckers convention or something. But so I can get you there, but I can't get you to Arklow sort of thing. But when we get down to Arklow, there'll be guys there that are maybe going down, you know, in lorries, and they'll, you know, maybe they'll. So our Robert like made it to Dublin from 4:30, like back then the M1 wasn't there, but still even going round direct route in the car, and the guy pulled over in Dundalk and bought him a bottle of Buckfast and a fish supper and stuff. So he had eaten, he had a couple of drinks, got to Dublin. The guy then brought him to the convention centre where the truckers thing was. This guy was going to Wicklow, but going through Arklow to get to Wicklow. Robert jumped in, and the trucker said, you know, I have beer. I'm hauling beer here. Go back there and grab a few, you know, if you want. So our Robert's sitting, and I mean, he must have even passed us, you know, me and Speedo standing thumbing in Blackrock, you know, to get, because at some stage or other, he overtook us to be able to get down to the Arklow on his own, ahead of us, imbibed, full tummy, and me and Speedo were walking in going, oh fuck, what a day, you know. I said, and then I had to go and do a gig, you know. And our Robert was like, you know, hey, go on ahead. At the gig, you know, so I'm bollocksed, and I'm up singing, and he's he's standing at the bar, you know, with you know, the locals sort of thing, you know, firing pints in them, and me going, fuck, I wish I was down there with you, you know. But that's that's just the fortune, you know, of him. But the No Sweat were a brilliant bunch of guys. Every single one of them were gentlemen, and they went on to do very good things. But I realised really quickly that that I couldn't stick it. I couldn't stick being down there. They really wanted me to, you know, to stay, you know, and everybody cried when, you know, when I said that I was going back up. But the catalyst and the reason why I couldn't stay, it wasn't anything to do with money or anything, or even, you know, just not, because I loved the band. I mean, who wouldn't? You want to check out No Sweat, listen to the music, and realise why, you know, it would have been in my, you know, because they are absolutely brilliant.